Hello, everyone. Thank you for stopping by my YouTube channel, Get Crafty with Sally. My name is Sally Poole. I am a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in Albany, Oregon. Welcome. Um, Today is day 9 of my sinus infection. So I think I might be getting better. I can't believe that I've been sick this long. I hopefully can make it through this video. I get pretty worn out. This card, one of my YouTube friends named Teresa emailed me a card like this and said she saw it on Pinterest and couldn't find any directions anywhere. And did I know how to make it, or could I figure it out? So I did some hunting around, and this is what I came up with. There are several that are similar that I found that are smaller. I have some examples of those as well. In fact, that's what I started out making. And then I thought, well, I wonder if I could make it 5.5 inches tall like a regular A2 card. So anyway, I'm not even sure what this is called. I'm calling it a triple arch fold card. And I am using some of the new designer series paper from the pre-order from the new catalog that's coming out next month. Well, the catalog's going to get sent out this month, but you'll be able to order from it next month if you're not a demonstrator. This paper is called Floral Impressions, and I am loving it. I'm pretty sure it comes as a suite. I know there is a bundle, and I wish now that I would have got it, because I would have liked to have stamped and cut some of the large flowers out for these cards, or I don't know if there's dies that allow you to cut images from the designer series paper, but I will try to figure that out. So here's what we're going to need to make this card, and I'm using a little different paper. It's still out of the same pack, and I think I have used almost every sheet but one, maybe. I didn't mean that I used the whole sheets. I tried the patterns on these cards, and I'll show those to you in a few minutes. So here's what you're going to need. You can either grab a screenshot of these measurements, or as always, I will have the measurements and supplies in a PDF down below this video in the description box. So these are just the sizes of the paper. Technically not what you're really going to have to use, because a lot of, well, 6 pieces are cut out with these Everyday Arches dies from the Everyday Arches bundle. So, for example, and I've already cut things out ahead of time, so we don't have to do all that. And I'm not sure how long I'm going to last. So, one of these scraps are just for these two pieces of cardstock that are die cut, and that is from I do need to mention this. Those are from the Just Wanted to Say dies. I have had these forever, and I don't think I've ever used them before. This Feel Better Soon die set is perfect for this card. It is perfect. And this die set is on the Last Chance products right now. It is discounted a little bit, so I think it was $39 and it's $35.10 or something right now. So I think I will be actually using it a lot. So this, you will need these scraps just for these words. And then also I've cut out a couple pieces of the daisy from, grab that, the Cheerful Daisies bundle. So I'm just gonna poke a little daisy on one of these panels. So let's start with this. Of course, this is 12 by 12 paper. For the Designer Series paper pieces, which is this smaller, there's two layers. There's a solid colored cardstock and then the Designer Series paper. So that one, I used the third largest die in this set, and I believe you can actually cut 4 of these if you're really careful. Can't remember, maybe not, 3 or 4. So I've already got those 2 cut out. I'm going to do it a little bit different than this card. And then I've also got a, starting to sweat. That is not good. I've also got a piece of 5" by 11", and I'm going to use that for the, I'm going to call them the solid cardstock pieces. That would be the Strawberry Slush on this card. So you'll need 3 of those. And then you'll also need you'll also need, this matches the smaller Designer Series paper, or you can do 3 of these. Like I said, I'm going to do this card a little bit different than the Strawberry Slush one. So this is 3.5 by 4 5/8, and I've used the third largest die again. And then I've also, I don't know if you can see it or not, I've also embossed it with the Ornate Floral 3D embossing folder, one of my favorites. So there's that. And then I also have 3 pieces of Designer Series paper, and they are from the Floral Delight Designer Series paper pack. And the colors in this pack of the yellows, it says Crushed Curry and Darling Duckling. And I actually cut things out with them, and I cut Designer Series paper out of this pack that had the yellow on it. And I don't, my personal opinion, I don't think they match very good, to the point of I didn't want to use them on my card. So you'll have to check that out and see what you think about it. So this is, I'm going to call it the card base. It is 4 by 12, so you will have to have a 12 by 12 piece of basic white, well, 4 by 12. And you're going to score it at 4 inches and 8 inches. So you'll have 3 4-inch sections, which I've got right here. So I am going to fold this to the back. I'm going to line it up, give it a good crease. I'm going to fold this one to the front, line it up, and give it a good crease. So there's the little base that's going to hold our pieces. I'm going to set that aside and grab my chair. And we will start gluing things together. So let's get our green glue and put some glue on the back of this little square piece. And I don't know how I get stuff so dirty just sitting here. Let me see if I can erase any of this stuff. There, that came off. So we will center this piece on this first panel. And you don't have to put paper on this card base if you don't want to. You don't have to decorate it. So let's grab our second one, put some glue on it. Try to line that up evenly. I probably will still be laying on the sofa for a couple days, so if anybody has any good program references or movies that I should watch, let me know. I'm kind of getting sick of watching TV. I did watch the America's program, most of those narrated by Tom Hanks, and it's pretty good. I don't think I have Netflix right now. I have YouTube TV, and I have Peacock right now, and Disney Plus, I think. Okay, so there's our little base piece. So now let's take our little designer series paper pieces, our arches, and we will glue them onto the white arch pieces. The white arch pieces were cut out with the second largest dies in the die set. So there's one. And if you don't want to use the pretty designer series papers, you could do all kinds of fun things, layering different sizes of these arches, and doing different, I don't know, floral die cuts or what have you, anything. But I think this is a great card to show off these designer series papers on. So now I am going to adhere the arched panel that has been embossed. And I want to make sure I get a good amount of glue, since it has all these little bumpy nooks and crannies. And if you're new here to my channel, I welcome you, and let me know where you're from. And I do apologize for not cutting anything out on the camera or scoring it today, die cutting, any of that. I just don't feel like I have the energy. So now for attaching these little arch panels, I am going to line my card base up at the bottom of my grid paper against this line. Hopefully you can see that in the video. And I'm going to take my first panel, turn it over, and see this top line up here that I've highlighted on my grid paper. That is 5.5 inches. So that's where I want the top of this arch to end up. So I'm just going to casually line it up there, because this is going to show me where I need to put the glue on the back of this piece, because you obviously don't want glue up here. So I've got it lined up at the bottom. I'm gonna lay this panel down, and I'm trying to make the left and right margins equal, and I'm trying to get the top of it up to that 5.5 inch mark. And I'm going to try to get these edges straight. So there's that one. And you can decide if you're doing one like this with, you're going to put the sentiment on there. You want to first decide where you're going to put it. And I think that the way that this actually stands, this is the best place. The third panel is the best place for the sentiment. So that's what I'm going to do on this card today. So let's turn this one over. Line it up there a little bit. And this is kind of, you know, a rough placement of the glue, because you actually have a pretty good area to put it on. Okay, make sure we're still lined up at the bottom. Flip this panel over. And it's a little bit easier once you get the first one down. You can kind of tell where it's supposed to be. And I don't want to go over that 5.5 inch mark, because we want to make sure that this still fits in our A2 envelope. Okay, so here's the last little arch piece. We will put some glue on it. Hopefully I didn't get that up too high. Flip that over. Make sure we're lined up at the bottom. Get it lined up on our 5.5 inch line. Get our edges straight. Give that a press. So you can see it's coming along. I think this card is so much fun. So now let's take our die cut sentiment. It says feel better soon. I think that's appropriate for today. I'm going to grab a piece of scratch paper, and I'm actually going to get my, excuse me, snarfling on the video. I'm going to use my little fine tip bottle, and I probably need get my other glasses here. And I'm just gonna try to, this is pretty delicate skinny paper, so I'm gonna try to quickly if I can get that to come out. I'm just gonna go around and try to add some little glue dots to these letters. Hopefully my fat head is not in the camera. I think there's a few other sets out right now that have words like this in them, that have that solid layer behind them, and there's some old ones. In fact, there's several old ones that I thought that I still had, but evidently I don't, or they're out in the garage or something. One of them is, and I didn't try it, so I'm not sure if it fits. Let me grab it. Sending Smiles, I think, has the word sending, and I think it has the word love. I guess it does have that layer behind it. I don't know if it's too big to fit on this or not, but that might be worth a try too if you've got that one. Uh-oh. I don't think I did a very good job of gluing. So I'm going to lay down my soon into my better and feel and see if I can get these straight. This did tear a little bit of this yellow paper off when I lifted it up. Hopefully I can get that off of there. I think I did. Okay, so now before we glue that down, the two little daisy pieces that I used, one is the solid one, and then the other is from this big piece, and I just used this one. So you don't need to cut this whole thing out. You just can lay this on, you know, the edge of a piece of paper you've been cutting on that has a solid spot for that. So I'm going to have to take my little snips and cut these little extra pieces off. So depending what your paper looks like when you cut it, you might have to cut some different pieces off than that. And I am going to take my dark Daffodil Delight. And I'm going to color the very end of this little daisy. And then I'm going to glue this daisy piece to, I've got glue all over my fingernails. I'm going to glue that piece to this piece, and they don't fit together perfectly, which is kind of awesome, actually. I think it's pretty interesting looking the way that it comes out. So now we are going to glue our sentiment down over here, but I want this daisy kind of tucked underneath the edge of that. What do you think about how that looks? So let's put some green glue on the back of this. Wow, it's really coming out. I don't need that much. That's crazy. And then I'm also going to put a little bit of glue on the back of this daisy. So I'm going to set this on here and center it where I think I want it. But I'm not going to push the top down yet. I'm going to tuck that little daisy under there first. Give that a good press. Then I can put the rest of my sentiment down on the card. Hopefully that is straight. Looks pretty good. There's plenty of room to write on the back of this if you want. You can also, if you want to cut another one of the large white panels, you can do that and then glue it on the back here and match it up with this last panel. That would give you plenty of room to write. I think I'm just going to leave it the way it is. You could also add some little gems or jewels to this if you wanted to, or some ribbon. I think that would look nice. So I'm also going to, I don't do this very often, but I really like it. I'm going to add a little piece of paper to the back of an envelope. So I have cut this little strip at 2 3/8 by 6. And if you have a pattern, a vertical pattern, you want to make sure you lay it on here first so that it's going down on the flap. So I'm going to, since this one doesn't matter, I'm going to fold that back over, and I'm going to put a little bit of glue around the edge of the envelope flap. I don't know why this glue is coming out so much. And I like to get it right around the edge because you know how crazy the postal machines are. They just pretty much eat everything up, even if it is glued down. You want to make sure you don't get it over the fold. You can fold it back this way if you want to make sure you haven't gone too far. And I'm going to give that a press. And I'll just take my little snips. And I am not the world's best fussy cutter or cutter, but you just